Coming hot off the heels of Halo Infinite being delayed into 2021, I have to say that I think that the Xbox Series X console, and as a matter of fact, the PS5 is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Because for the first time in both console launches, they aren't launching with games that I feel we need to go run out and buy the new consoles for. But the one company I think that is in the most trouble is the Xbox Series X, and I have a feeling they don't really care because they set themselves up to take a hit like this. And as someone that loved the fact that they delayed Halo Infinite into 2021, I do realize that the game was a huge selling point for the Xbox Series X launch. I mean, for the last year and a half, Phil Spencer and a lot of other top Xbox executives have said that Halo Infinite will be a launch title with the Xbox Series X. And that for the first time since their original Xbox launched back 20 years ago, we will have a Halo game ready to launch with a new Xbox console. But now in the wake of a demo showing that had the internet tear the game apart for some reasonable issues and some not so reasonable issues, Halo Infinite will not launch with the Xbox Series X, and from the looks of it, I don't see that many launch titles for the Xbox Series X that will push the hardware. Does that turn me away from the console? Of course not, because I will play all my third-party games on the system because they will look and perform better on that console. But that doesn't hide the fact that there's a massive hole in the launch lineup for the Xbox Series X, and if we're being honest, Sony's launch lineup isn't that much better. But does the lack of launch titles hurt Xbox as much as it does the PlayStation 5? Well, let's get into some of these articles and I'll give my opinion on the matter, because right now, this has to be one of the weirdest console launches I've ever seen from both Sony and Microsoft. So let's get into these articles. But first, like always, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. So I know that introduction might seem a little negative, but I'm not trying to be negative. Instead, I'm trying to point out a very obvious problem I see this coming generation. And I understand a lot of these delays have to do with the current situation the entire world is dealing with, but it still doesn't hide the fact that this could affect the overall sales of both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. But again, does Microsoft even care that their console might not sell like hotcakes when they launch the console? I say that because Phil Spencer has said before that the launch lineup doesn't really matter. What matters is the console price and power behind it. And I have a feeling Microsoft and Xbox doesn't care if you want to invest in their new console right away. Instead, they want you to invest in their ecosystem, which this article points out and talks about the changing of guard when it comes to Xbox. Here's what the article had to say. Microsoft has thoroughly convinced me I don't need to buy an Xbox Series X. The games don't look next-gen enough, there aren't enough titles I actually want to play. Yesterday, the company announced its flagship game, Halo Infinite, won't even arrive until 2021. Besides, almost all of Microsoft's key games are also coming to Windows PC, and some may even come to the PS5 as well. And while I have a sneaky suspicion that Microsoft is breaking a big promise by not bringing some Xbox Series X games to the Xbox One, another possibility is many of the biggest reasons to buy a new Xbox won't be available until long after its November launch. But intriguingly, I don't think Microsoft will mind me skipping the Xbox this gen. The company will be too busy laughing all the way to the bank. Now, I understand every single statement made by this person writing this article because yes, Halo didn't look very next gen. And no matter how big of a fan I am of the demo that Halo showed, I understand the hate the game got. Did I love what I saw? Of course I did, because I love Halo, and the first thing I think about when I play Halo is playing with my friends in co-op. But again, that doesn't help the fact that Xbox's brand took a hit with the showing and took an even bigger hit when they delayed Halo Infinite. But to me, that's a good thing they did, because Xbox will take a short-term hit with the Xbox Series X launch, but in the long term, it shows that the company is willing to delay games if they aren't finished, or willing to invest more money into games that they feel need more time to get polished up. And that's where things start to look very promising for the Xbox brand, because yes, while the launch of the Xbox Series X won't have these massive launch titles, that's something I feel isn't important, because we just have to look at history to understand what gamers really want. When the PS4 and the Xbox One launched, the biggest selling point was power and price. Sony had that in spades, and because of that, they dominated sales for the entire generation. Did Sony have these massive launch titles that brought people to the platform? No, not even close. They honestly had extremely lackluster launch titles, and they were well regarded as indie console. All the while, Xbox had massive standouts like Dead Rising 3, Titanfall, and Rise Son of Rome, one of my favorite launch titles. Graphical showpieces that showed what the Xbox One can do. But again, that didn't help them at all because the console would later sell far less than the PS4. That's where the current strategy that Xbox is doing comes into play, because I feel that Xbox learned from history and understands that in order to gain gamers' trust, they need to bring out games that stand out and aren't rushed out. Even if that means having a lackluster launch lineup, because at the end of the day, it's about building great experiences no matter what platform you're on, Xbox or PC. Microsoft wants the consumer to come back into their ecosystem and stay there. And the only way to keep people there is to continually provide amazing gaming experiences that makes us want to stay subscribed to Xbox Game Pass. Which the article points out here, saying they don't need the Xbox Series X to enjoy Halo or the other Xbox exclusive games. Here's what's said. And Microsoft don't even have to sell me a box to earn those dollars, which is handy when you consider that brand new game consoles are often sold with very slim margins indeed. They do that because they know you're more likely to buy games for the box that already made a hole in your wallet and filled a hole in your entertainment center. But if enough people already own gaming PCs or earlier Xbox Ones, particularly in an era when true console exclusives are rare anyhow, why not make easy money from those people? And that's why this cross-generation strategy Xbox is going with for the first year or two on the Xbox Series X comes in handy. Because buying a new console for a lot of people is a massive investment, especially since the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is going to be around $500. You throw in having to buy $60 games to even use that system, and you have a pretty big hit on people's wallets. Which is why Xbox is not afraid to launch the Xbox Series X console without that many launch titles, because they know they can make that money up with subscriptions or with games they release on both the PC and the Xbox. And it's something that Sony is hinting at doing also, considering their flagship launch title is a 5 to 8 hour Spider-Man Miles Morales game, not to mention there's rumors of them buying a bunch of third-party content that's supposed to be exclusive on the platform, which of course I'll play like crazy, but again, it's not massive launch titles, but it's a strategy Sony is looking into, as the article points out here. I'll be curious if Sony does the same. It's already taken the first step with a PC port of Horizon Zero Dawn, one of its most gorgeous exclusives for PS4, and other previously PS4 exclusive games have also been making their way to Steam. This is something I agree with wholeheartedly. I have a feeling that Sony is looking to put their games on the PC platform because they saw the influx of money they got from releasing Horizon Zero Dawn. I just feel they need to do some testing before releasing their games on PC because there has been multiple problems with the PC port of Horizon Zero Dawn. I think once they get a good flow of games coming to PC and the PS5, they will start to release their games much easier on the PC platform. Much like Xbox has been doing for years and has had massive success because, let's be real, the next Xbox isn't the Xbox Series X. The next Xbox is an ecosystem where you can play your games wherever you want. And that's something the article points out when it says this. Besides, Microsoft has other ways to achieve gamer lock-in now. Instead of spending $60 on a single copy of Halo Infinite, I might as well opt to pay $15 a month for Microsoft's Game Pass Ultimate, which is looking like a better deal all the time. Yes, as a PC gamer, there was no way I was going to pay for Xbox Live Gold to get online multiplayer I'm used to having for free. But now that a subscription buys access to over 100 PC games, not just back catalog, but new first-party Microsoft games on launch day, and will let me play them on my Android phone with xCloud 2, I'm definitely going to give it a look. Like my colleague Tom Warren says, Xbox Game Pass is Microsoft's true next-gen Xbox. It was the one clear message Microsoft sent during the same 57-minute presentation that convinced me not to buy an actual Xbox. And this is where everything comes together, because this statement is very true. The next generation Xbox is going to be about Xbox Game Pass, not the Xbox Series X. Does that indicate that the Xbox Series X is in trouble? No, I don't think so. I actually think it makes it far more valuable because the system will sell better and perform better if the services around the system makes more money. That's the direction a lot of developers and publishers are taking next generation. Yes, even Sony. So to answer the question about if Xbox Series X is in trouble, I have to say yes, because the launch titles aren't that worthwhile. The system will depend on third-party games for a little while to show what the system can actually do. And that goes for Sony's PS5 as well, because they don't have massive first-party games coming at launch. Again, they will only have third-party games to show the power of the system, which isn't good for Sony because the Xbox Series X will run every single game better. Either way, I have to say, this is the weirdest console launches I've ever seen, and it's only going to get worse because both Sony and Microsoft are going head-to-head right now, and their strategy is ever evolving to combat each other. Let's hope we get some great games out of all this back and forth, because right now, I just want to know the prices, I want to know what games are coming at launch, and I want to know what games are coming in 2021 so I can look forward to the future of both of these consoles. But enough of what I think about this, tell me what you think about all of this. Do you think the Xbox Series X is in trouble? Will this hurt the sales of the new Xbox console? What launch lineup do you like more, PS5s or the Xbox Series X? What games are making you want to buy a next-gen console? Are you mad that Halo Infinite was delayed? Do you think 2021 will be better for both consoles? What launch titles hype you up the most? And which console will you buy first? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Right now, I'm playing a bunch of Ghost of Tsushima still, and on my PS4, because that game is extremely long. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but again, that game takes a little while to get through, and I'm going to be playing it for the next couple of weeks until Marvel's Avengers comes out, because I'm really looking forward to that. I want to play that game so bad because I love comic book stuff, and that game looks pretty cool. I feel like it's going to actually have a lot of content on there, and I think it's actually going to give Destiny a run for its money. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later!